Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a Bachelor of Nursing student, and today I'm going to be interviewing you about your experiences with caring within the Canadian healthcare system.
I think the number one thing is that the patient feels comfortable when they're in the care. Obviously, more often than not, they're in a very vulnerable position. And I know things can be overwhelming and busy and whatnot, but that being said, it is important that the patient is comfortable.
No, I totally agree. Like nursing care, especially, is just so much more than just the physical care, the medical care that's provided. It's about empathizing with your patients and being able to create an authentic, genuine connection and build trust. Overall, how would you describe your experiences within the healthcare system have been?
Yeah, I used to have a pretty bad addiction problem, and I've found myself in and out a number of times. And during that period, it was always negative. I found that these people weren't very compassionate towards me when I was in there, for whatever reason. So
What were the things that they did, the verbal or nonverbal communication that kind of conveyed that lack of compassion or empathy?
they were just very short and dismissive of my needs, right? Whether I was just starting to get sick or if I needed a glass of water or something like that, they were always kind of talking down and seeming like it didn't matter, and whatever they had to do at that time was more important. So again, it just made me feel kind of insignificant.
So, can you describe an experience that you had as a patient or client within the healthcare system?
Yeah, so one time I overdosed and I ended up in the emergency room, and I just kind of I got dropped off by the ambulance, and I got in there and shown to my little waiting room area place. And I'm progressively getting sick as time goes on, and doesn't seem like they're wanting to help me in any way, shape, or form. So I understand that I'm obviously, in a less desirable kind of situation for them. But that being said, they are there to care for the patients regardless of what situation they're in. So I was in there, and it just felt like I didn't I didn't matter. And as time went on, and then they just kind of shoved me out, and that was it. There was no one extended any help or offered to kind of get me any sort of support that I may need.
And so, can you describe a little bit once you had been like taken to the room? I assume a nurse came in and probably did like a medical assessment, perhaps a medical history. How was that interaction?
Yeah, so we went over the initial assessment, and that was it. She walked away. I didn't see anyone for what felt like a long time. Um, and normally I try not to be too much of a bother. But that being said, I was getting sick and I did need some help, and it seemed like no one wanted to extend any sort of care for me. And when they did drop by, it was just short visits and kind of looking down on me and stuff like that. So I mean, it was just unpleasant.
And at any point, did anyone kind of sit down and talk to you about maybe the reasons that were kind of leading you to use drugs, or maybe about looking into detox or connecting you with other resources?
Not one time. And I mean, who knows what would have happened. I can't say that it would have fixed anything. Everyone is always at a different point in their journey. But I mean, maybe it would have changed. So maybe it would have changed something for someone else. Maybe someone wasn't as fortunate to recover like myself, and maybe that would have been the difference. And I'd still have some extra friends here, and some people would still have their kids around. So I think definitely that would make a big difference in someone's experience.